Hi everyone, I'm Dave and I love movies. So, welcome to my podcast, The Reaction Shot. In each episode, I'll dive deep into a movie of any genre that holds a special place in my heart. But here's the twist. I bring on a guest who has never seen that movie before, until now. We discuss, dissect, and review from pre to post-production to behind-the-scenes stories and well into its impact on pop culture. Will we agree on everything, or will we have wildly different views? Thanks for hitting play. Let's roll tape and find out. Fade in. Hi everyone. Welcome back to a very special episode of the Reaction Shot podcast. As always, I'm your host Dave, and today we're kicking off an exciting segment that I'm calling Creators Spotlight. This episode extension is all about diving deep into the minds of the most innovative, passionate, and downright inspiring creators in the film industry. And who better to launch this off with than the extraordinarily talented Jamie Root. You might recognize Jamie's work as the assistant director on the spine-chilling independent horror success Damien Leone's Terrifier 3 and Michael Levy's Stream. But her talents don't stop there. As the founder of JFR Media, Jamie has also made waves, starting out with her compelling short films, The Signs and the multi-award-winning short Densmore, to only name a few. In today's episode, we'll be exploring Jamie's creative journey, her influences, and the behind-the-scenes magic that brings her vision to life. Whether you're a budding filmmaker, a horror enthusiast, or just someone who loves a good story, this is an episode you don't want to miss. So, grab your popcorn, settle in, and get ready to be inspired. Jamie Root's story is about to unfold right here. Hi Jamie, how are you doing today?
Hey David, good, how are you?
I'm doing well. I really appreciate you doing this. I'm super excited to chat with you and learn all about your career.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I'm honored to be a part of your part of the episode. Yeah.
Oh, well, thank you. So tell me a little bit about yourself. Like, who are you? Who are you outside of your work?
Oh, geez. Yeah. So my work is a big part of my my personality, but I would say outside of work, I'm pretty social. I like spending time with my friends and family. My dog, he's a huge part of my life. Nice. And I love traveling, exploring new places, being outdoors. And that's really it. I just like to travel. Sometimes I'll go to the gym. Like, pretty boring life.
No, that's not boring. That's actually pretty exciting. Do you have a favorite place to travel to, or a favorite place that you have traveled to?
Ooh, yeah, I really like nature, so I like national parks a lot. So awesome. Utah is like a nice hub for beautiful scenery. Oregon, Washington State. It's hard to pick this one, but I'm a sucker for good scenery and a nice hike.
Absolutely, yeah. You gotta love some good scenery. It sounds like you visited a lot of pretty awesome places that I know are definitely beautiful. I've never been to Utah, but
highly recommend. If you like the outdoors, highly recommend.
I do. Yeah, I'll have to put that on my bucket list, I guess, and head out that way.
Yes.
So.
Yes, I'm a big fan of bucket lists.
Yes, excellent. Well, I have one, I guess, in my brain. I don't have it written down anywhere, but I'm definitely gonna add Utah on there because
definitely.
I like to travel too. I mean, I can't really say I've gone to anywhere as what Utah sounds like, but I definitely had to do that. So on the list for sure. So what ignited your passion to become a director, independent director, cinematographer? How did you break into the industry? Where did that all begin?
This is such a great question. I have wanted to be a filmmaker for as long as I can remember. There was no other option for me. I was 12 years old taking my parents' VHS camcorder and making my own short films and commercials, taping over holidays. My parents loved it. So I always loved storytelling, both visually and through dialogue. And then by the time I got to high school, I was already learning how to edit. And then in college, I bought my first DSLR camera and would make short films with that. And I wouldn't say, for me, I don't feel like I've broken into the industry per se, but I guess to get to where I am now, I just worked really hard building relationships, and just I think I have a pretty strong work ethic, and I think if you're a filmmaker, you kind of have to have a strong work ethic, because it's blue collar work, it's grueling work, like long days, and I think that kind of stood out to some people, specifically in like 2014, 2015 time frame. I met the Fuzz on the Lens team because I was PAing for free on this feature film. It never came to fruition, but that's where I met the guys, and I was working a full-time job during the day, and then we were shooting overnights at night. So it was just nonstop. So wow. I think that they kind of recognized that in me, and we just had a really good rapport, and we got along so well. And then that was sort of my chance to like prove myself, I think, to them that I really I'm serious about being a filmmaker. It's not just like, I that's what I wanted. I think that was kind of prevalent. But we formed a great friendship working on each other's projects since then. And then in 2020, I worked on Terrifier 2, and then that led to assistant directing and co-producing Stream, and then it just snowballed from there. And filmmaking is truly about people. I've been lucky to build lasting relationships, not just with the Fuzz guys, but with multiple other people, other companies throughout the years.
Oh, that's awesome. That's some pretty great stuff right there. I really like what you said, that they noticed your hard work, and I do believe it sounds like film has been your passion since a very young age. So bringing that passion, the hard work, I mean that stuff really shows. And obviously, Fuzz on the Lens Productions saw that in you, and I think that says a lot. So that's great to hear. I can definitely relate to the younger age, getting behind a camera and recording things with your friends. Something me and my friends always did too. Yeah, I would, we'd be at my house, I'm in middle school, high school, not driving yet, whatever. And all my friends would come to my house, and my parents would go like lock themselves away in the bedroom for like 10 hours a day. I'm like, don't come out. Yeah. So,
man, it's important to have like parents and a support system. I mean, my parents throughout the years have been such good sports, because I would have people come over when I lived at home, I would have people come over to the house and film. I filmed short films at my parents' house, commercials, like I remember one time I featured my mom in a commercial, and they're just such good sports. I mean, we were shooting overnight, like, they have work the next morning, and I'm grateful that I've had parents that weren't like, oh, you need to get a real job, or you need to go be a business major. I think, but I also feel like they saw the passion and like the fire inside that I had as well. And so who are they to say like, you can't do this,
Yeah, that's awesome. Like you said, having a great support system is very important. And I love to hear when parents are, supportive of those types of things, because, like you said, sometimes you're starting out and you're not getting paid any money, or you're getting paid a little bit of money, and at the end of the day,
right,
money isn't everything, but obviously money's something. You gotta pay the bills, right? But
right,
the passion is what gets you there, and that hard work and dedication, and your parents acknowledging that really says a lot. So love to hear that. Awesome. So you've brought captivating projects like The Signs and the multi-award-winning short Densmore to life. What captivated you about these projects? What made you want to create them? And what invaluable lessons did you learn from making them?
Yeah, so short films have always been a way for me to grow and challenge myself as a filmmaker. So with Densmore and the signs, I was drawn to storytelling potential and the chance to experiment creatively. And the projects, they each, I feel like short films are a way to teach you something or experiment with something so you can prove to yourself or to others, but mostly to yourself, that you're able to do something. So for me, Densmore was the first time I had really worked with a visual effects artist, and I think he did a great job. I mean, I think he killed it. I couldn't have asked for a better visual effects artist. So that was a new experience. We flew to Kansas. We shot everything out there. We worked in pre-production with our visual effects artist because the visual effects are a big part of the story. And the signs was all dialogue. I mean, it is one room, two people, all dialogue, and I think it proved to me that we can captivate an audience with just dialogue, which is hard to do. I know they say show, don't tell, but to be able to do that, I thought was really special. So yeah, I think that short films are incredibly important. They're the filmmaker's classroom, and I know they can go to festivals, and sometimes you can sell them to other companies to incorporate into anthologies and whatnot, which I've done many, many years ago. But ultimately, they're just the grounds for experimenting and teaching and learning, and then eventually you can be confident enough as a filmmaker to go to that next level, which is a feature film or a series or reality or whatever it is that your goal is. So yeah, I owe a lot of the lessons that I learned to these sets, these short films, because they've shaped the director and the storyteller that I am today.
Yeah, that's incredible too. Yeah, I wrote a couple notes about your short films, and I did write The Signs was very captivating.
Oh, great.
I literally wrote very captivating. So I'm glad that you used that word too. I actually love that it was all dialogue. I do hear a lot of people, some people talk about film having too much dialogue, but I feel like you can really captivate an audience if you have so much dialogue and you're really telling the story in the correct way. Visually, you can still captivate the audience, even if nothing crazy is happening, like explosions or, Superman flying past the screen. Like, we can have a sit-down conversation in a room. The camera angles, the thing that the cameras are, touching upon. The camera ended up turning, and you ended up seeing like the side of the main actor's face, and when you first get a glimpse of the side of his face, you're like, oh shit, what happened to him?
Right? Yeah.
All the while your brain's thinking this, but you're stuck on that dialogue. So I do think that's important, and that's why I wrote captivating. So I think that was a great job there. And Densmore, I wrote felt insanely cinematic. I would love more.
Thank you so much. Thanks so much.
Yeah.
What an honor. Oh my gosh.
No. When I sat down, I did watch a couple of your short films first. For some reason, Densmore wasn't one of the first ones I watched. So when I went and ended up watching Densmore, I was like, wow, this is pretty awesome. I really liked it, and I think it gave you enough. It kind of had that open-ended feel. You can kind of make your own connections, but it still gave you enough, being a short film, to kind of pull everything together, but still, again, make you wanting more. So great job there too.
Right, yeah. Thank you so much. Yeah, Densmore is actually a proof of concept. It was originally a proof of concept for a feature, but now it's going to hopefully, I think I'm going to go the mini-series route instead, but well, I guess we can get into that later.
Sure. No, that's awesome. Yeah, I definitely want to circle back to that for sure. I do want to make note also of one other of your short films that I watched. It's called It's Not Contagious. And I was watching it, my fiance and I were watching it, and I was like, this is good. I didn't know where it was headed. You start to see our main character. She's she wakes up in the morning and her tooth is falling out. She's starting to get like weird like burns and marks all over her body, and we have a finger falling off, we have an ear falling off. It's great visuals. The dialogue's really good. There's comedic timing, and there's still this mystery while you're watching this whole entire thing. And again, this is a short film, so obviously the ending's coming soon. But at the same exact time, I was like, I don't really want this to end. But at the same time, I wanted to get to the end because I wanted to know what the hell was happening. And, spoiler warning if no one wants to know, but you're kind of wondering what's happening to this woman. And she goes to the doctor and gets checked out. And, the film's almost over. And then it's revealed what is happening to her. And he said it's an advanced version of turning 30. And I thought, damn, that's great. It made me laugh. I was like, oh shit, that's awesome.
Thank you so much. That was such a fun combination of practical effects, and I don't really act much, but I got to play myself, so there wasn't a whole lot of acting. I just had to be like irritable, which I was like, okay.
Well, hey, you did irritable very well, so good job there. No, you did really well. Again, these short films, I keep using the same word, I apologize, but they are captivating. And I think that is hard to do for some people. I mean, anyone can make a short film. That's where the passion and the hard work comes from. You seem to have your hand in a lot of aspects of it. You seem to have a good team. Even prior to getting into, hanging out with Fuzz on the Lens and working with them, prior to that, any of the guys and girls that you've been working with, you could definitely see that talent shine. So really love that. So, how did your involvement with Terrifier 2 come about, and what do you think that this did for your career at that point in time?
So, Terrifier 2, my friend Jason Levy, one of the Levy brothers, he reached out to me to see if I wanted to basically just help out, be like a day player on Terrifier 2 for a couple days. And also, he offered me a small role just as an extra. I run past the screen in the first 15 seconds. I think I'm like bitching at. Can I say that? I think I'm like.
Oh, you can say yeah.
Okay. I think I'm like bitching at the guy behind me, like what are you doing? Leave me alone, type thing. And that even though it was a brief experience, it allowed me to meet Damien Leone and George Stuber and Phil Falcone and of course David Howard Thornton. And then from there, I formed a strong connection with that core team, and those relationships have had a huge impact on my career. So while working on Terrifier 2 was great, it was the friendships and the trust that I built with this group that really made a difference for me. And that foundation helped me open the door to more projects and more collaborations down the road. And of course, that led to Stream and then Terrifier 3 ultimately, and so on and so forth.
That's so great. I saw that you had a cameo in Terrifier 2. I didn't catch it, so I'm definitely gonna go back and check it out. So I definitely want to see it.
It's so fast. It's like the first 15 seconds, like the opening shot of the film.
Oh wow!
It's just
so
like a camera dollies. Yeah. Literally, the camera dollies past some trash, and then there's some obnoxious teenagers running down the alleyway, and there I am, obnoxious teenager.
Love that.
It was
well, there you go,
simple,
David.
But so much fun.
That's good. There you go, David Howard Thornton, the real star of the show. The first person we see is Jamie Brute. So
yeah, right. Move over, Art the Clown.
Move over. Yeah, come on, man. All right. So you became the first assistant director for Terrifier 3, a record-breaking, independent, unrated horror film. What did this job consist of? What was a normal day on set like?
Oh, okay. So being an assistant director is an intense, high-pressure job. I was responsible for keeping the production on track, leading morning meetings, kind of discussing with the crew what's happening today, what they can expect, managing the schedule, and constantly troubleshooting issues. It's a role that requires like quick thinking and adaptability because it never goes exactly as planned on set. I'm sure you know this. I mean, film, it never goes as planned. So
never.
It's just constantly just one problem after the other. And then when there's millions of dollars on the line, it's very, very stressful. So yeah, honestly, the way I would describe assistant directing is it feels like you're drowning while you're on fire and also completely sleep deprived.
Oh, sounds wonderful.
No. Every time I do it, I ask myself why. I don't know. I think I enjoy pain. I don't know what the deal is, but truly though, I had an incredible team, and that makes all the difference. I mean, together we worked through every challenge, kept things moving forward, even when days are long and tough, and we're sleep deprived, and there's I'm so grateful for the team that I was lucky enough to join for Terrifier 3, because they are incredible people. I mean, absolutely incredible people, truly.
Yeah, I obviously I don't know any of them, but I'm saying yeah because that's the one thing that I love about the Terrifier films is that, again, full circle conversation here, the passion and dedication that has gone into those films is incredible. I remember the first time I saw Terrifier, I was like, this is amazing. And you knew there was something there. And I think everyone did. And obviously everyone did. And seeing the franchise grow, seeing Damien Leone, keep his vision and not, I don't want to say sell out, but it's to not go the studio direction and just be like, this is my passion project. I heard an interview with him where he talked about how down the road he knows that Art the Clown will probably go on for eternity. Let's face it, Art the Clown is a horror icon. So he kind of talked about he wants to tell his story. Once he finishes his story, maybe down the road, Art the Clown will go to, to a studio and someone else will take over and tell a story with Art the Clown. But we're getting Damien Leone's vision his way, and that passion shows, and that's why audiences each time just keep getting bigger and bigger, and it is where it is. And yeah, you're a part of that, so that's incredible.
I'm very grateful. I remind myself, I mean, every day on set for Terrifier 3, I was just reminding myself, like, what an incredible experience. Like, I'm so grateful to be here. Tired, cold, hungry, whatever I was, frustrated. Very grateful. Very, very grateful. I love this team so much.
Good. I love hearing that. Yeah, congratulations on all that.
Thank you.
So, can you spill some behind-the-scenes secrets from your time on Terrifier 3, or tell me about some great memories or unforgettable moments you had on set?
Yeah, so I have, so we have such an unconventional set. It's a little chaotic, but it's like working with family, and I know that's like such a cringy term because people are like it's a red flag when someone's like, we're like family, but it really is. I mean, God, we argue like family, we like love each other like family, like, I see the Fuzz guys as like Michael and Jay are like my brothers. Like I really, I trust them the way I trust my own brother, you know what I mean? One of my favorite memories was we were shooting during the ending. We were shooting that all in Long Island, and most of the crew was staying at this huge Airbnb, like 13 bedrooms, gigantic. And since we had the next day off, we decided to all like kind of relax and let loose a little bit and hang out. And the house that we were staying in had this built-in sound system. I mean, like speakers in the walls in the kitchen, outside by the pool, like throughout the entire house, the sound system. Well, I had control of the music because I was hooked up to the sound system. And I just like to like watch. I like to like people watch and just like see how things are unfolding and observe. So I have my music queued up, and I put on the song Bad Moon Rising by Creedence Clearwater Revival, and I just watched it I turned it on and I watched what would happen, and it went from like this loud chattering, like just really, like how like parties sound or whatever, just loud, to there was a split second where everyone just stopped and broke into song. And
that's awesome.
It was such a perfect, harmonious moment, and I just remember thinking how lucky I was to be a part of something so special with such an amazing group of people, because just watching that was it was so like heartwarming. I don't know why, but I just felt like we were all so connected to each other. It was great. It was really great.
I love that. I love that. That's actually a pretty cool story. Man, yeah, I'm picturing it in my head. I'm also thinking of the scene in my favorite movie of all time, Almost Famous, when they're on the tour bus and they break out into Tiny Dancer, and they're all fighting, and then they break out in a Tiny Dancer, and they're suddenly everything's fine, and they're all like united and having a good time. So
oh man, very similar vibes, except not fighting, just happy chatter to song, to harmonious song.
Sure. I love that. That's a good story. Thanks for sharing that.
Of course, yeah.
So, how is it working alongside mastermind Damien Leone and hearing his often probably grotesque visions and helping bring them to life?
Damien is a perfectionist, but in the best way possible. He's incredibly detail-oriented, and he has a clear vision of what he wants. Watching him work is inspiring. He's meticulous and creative, but he still manages to keep things fun and lighthearted. And something, I guess, a little tidbit about Terrifier, he had, for Terrifier 3, he has an entire special effects team, bigger budget, more people to help with the effects and everything.
Sure.
But he loves to get his hands dirty or bloody, rather. And he always has to get involved with, putting the blood on Sienna's face, or like just always has to be involved, because he's meticulous, he's a perfectionist, he knows what he wants. I remember working with him on stream, because that's when Damien and I actually got closer, because Terrifier 2, I was only on for a few days, and of course he's doing Dave's makeup and directing and blah blah blah. But stream, he had a more lenient role, just doing the effects and nothing else. So I was able to get to know him better from stream, and I just remember like watching him mold things with silicone, whatever the correct term is, do like casts or whatever. And I remember thinking that he looked like a little kid, like just playing with like a Lego set, like completely focused, but having so much fun. And his calm and laid back demeanor is a huge asset on such a high stakes project like Terrifier 3.
Wow, yeah, I could see him being that way just because of how he talks about how passionate he is about the things. That's kind of cool to hear him, to kind of visualizing him kind of being like a little kid playing with Legos, like you said. That's pretty cool
yeah.
too. Yeah. So did you guys film, did you guys do Stream first or Terrifier 3 first?
Stream. So it went
Okay.
It went Terrifier 2 in 2020. Well, they started before that, but my involvement wasn't until 2020. And then 2021, we did Stream right after. Damien was actually editing Terrifier 2 while we were shooting Stream. He brought his whole iMac setup to his hotel, and when he wasn't working on Stream, he was editing Terrifier 2. And so it went Terrifier 2, Stream, Terrifier 3.
Gotcha. Perfect. I guess just because I saw Terrifier 3 first and then Stream after, in my brain, I know it doesn't always work that way, but I was kind of thinking you guys did it the opposite. But no,
it's
awesome.
Crazy. We shot Stream almost 4 years ago now, so it's just time just flies.
Wow, that is crazy. I mean, even just mentioning like 2020, filming during COVID and things like that, like that just seems like that is so long ago. And yeah. So how about your time on Stream? How did your role go on that set? What were you responsible for on that?
Stream was a pivotal experience for me. I started out as an AD. I got a call, I think it was in November, from Steve Delasala, and he was like, "Do you want to AD stream?" And I was like, "What does that mean?" I have no idea what that means. And he was like, assistant direct. I mean, you basically already do it because you write and you direct your own stuff. You can run a set. You do it already, so you know how to do it. I'm like, sure, like totally blind, not knowing anything about ADing. Yeah, so I started as an AD, which was a first, right? But I quickly found myself taking on more and more roles. So I was ending up operating the second unit camera when we did stunts. So I'd be on camera for that. Assisting with wardrobe on my days off. I was buying wardrobe for the actors, and then I doubled for like the majority of our female actresses. I doubled for them, and it was a lot to juggle, but it taught me so much about how to manage a production and what goes into the ins and outs of a movie. I mean, there's so much that I had no idea about, and there's still so much I feel like I have no idea about. But it was a huge learning curve for me, and I'm grateful that I took on that role because it was stressful, but it was a something that I feel like really unified us as a team. One of my most memorable moments on stream was we had a Super Bowl watch party. The Buccaneers were playing. I don't know who they were playing against because I'm not a Buccaneers fan, but yeah, they won, and we were just celebrating because we had the day off the next day, and we just had so much fun together. The camaraderie is incredible, and Stream just gave me the confidence that I think I needed, that validation that I could handle my own feature one day.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's that movie. The movie is pretty awesome. It was. I felt like it kind of brought all the good stuff from all different types of horror films. It had good tongue-in-cheek humor, and you could really see the chemistry of the cast on that. So hearing that you had good relationships with everyone behind the scenes, and you guys were getting together for parties and things, watching Super Bowl, like that's awesome. I love hearing stuff like that too. But,
yeah, thanks.
Yeah. So what was it like being on set with some pretty crazy legends? I mean, only to name a few, because I felt like there was a lot in this movie, but we had Danielle Harris, who I remember watching her in the Halloween films when she was young Jamie, and I used to always talk about how insane her scream was during the Halloween movies when I was a kid. I'd be like, man, that girl can scream. So I definitely... I mean, that's legendary stuff right there. You have Dee Wallace, E.T.'s mom in Cujo, among many other things. We have Bill Moseley, Jeffrey Combs, and of course we have Tim Curry and the late Tony Todd. What was it like? What was it like working with all those people and then everyone else as well?
Okay, so I haven't seen a lot of movies, so when people they would, Michael or anyone on set would name drop, oh, we have this person. And I'd be like, who? Like, just because I'm oblivious. There's so many movies I haven't seen, or if I've seen them, I'm not a names person. I'm a faces person. So when I first heard Danielle Harris, I'm Googling, right? Yeah. So I never really got starstruck or anything, just because I didn't really know anyone. Of course, I knew who Dee Wallace was because I've seen Cujo, I've seen E.T. But even still, it wasn't like I was someone that was like, oh my gosh, I have to meet this person. I'm so excited or whatever. But and I think that actually plays to my benefit, because then I don't get all starstruck and nervous or because I'm like, they're just people. And then when you get to know them, I mean, I've given rides, I was driving Danielle would ride with me to and from set. I bought Tony's wardrobe, and then, I would talk with him and have him try on wardrobe and see how everything felt and whatnot. So you work closely with the actors, but they're just people. So like it didn't seem intimidating to me, and everyone is just so kind and so respectful and polite. Dee Wallace is so incredible. I mean, the fact that she obviously you saw Stream, so she has to get into this like emotional state, and I feel like that's a challenging thing to do for actors, but especially someone like at her age, like just to be able to go into like a place to be able to cry. And I mean, you can be sitting for hours before you're called to set. So she was so incredible and such a sweet woman. Danielle was amazing too. Tony, I've worked with Tony actually on 3 different projects, and every time he's a delight. He's so polite and respectful, and just he was a really great guy, and it was really unfortunate what happened because he was quite an incredible human. So that's a really big loss to the horror community. Jeffrey Combs, again, fantastic actor. I mean, he really brought his A game, and he really got into the character too. He was, he fully embodied Lockwood and gave it his all. And I think that really shows throughout the film. I mean, he really had a blast, I feel like, with his character and bringing it to life. And him and Michael would go back and forth like, oh, what do you think about this idea? And Michael would be like, yeah, great. Like, they would like play around essentially with his character. Everyone is just, I think that you never know when you get a script as an actor or a director, producer, whatever, you never really know if it's going to happen because there's so many times that productions, there's the hype for it and then they get shelved or they don't get the funding or what have you. But I think the fact that we were all on set and working, especially during COVID, I mean, we had masks on, really, really long days, full masks, PPE, all of it, COVID tests every other day. But the fact that we were just all there together working, I think that sort of instilled a sense of gratitude with all the actors. And so we just had this really great, like I said, sort of like a camaraderie. And honestly, even the other actors, I mean, Charlie Powell, who played Roy, what a great guy, man. What a great guy. He is such a good sport. I mean, we threw him into the ceiling so many times, and he never once complained. And they are that was long. They were long days. they were grueling days. I mean, any movie with special effects are going to have long days. And yeah, incredible. Same with Wesley. I mean, just really him and his family, like just bending over backwards to be able to make him available because he was in school at the time. And just, gosh, I can't say enough good things about this cast. They were just such incredible people.
I love hearing that. Yeah, Wesley did an incredible job. Like, you see child actors and stuff, and sometimes they really blow your way, and you're like, that's, we're gonna look out for that name in the future for sure. So.
Oh yeah, he's going places for sure.
Yeah. I love what you said about actors, working on set with these actors, and you said that you're not super familiar with a lot of big names, you haven't watched a lot of movies, and I can definitely see that being helpful. And at the same time, like you said, like they are just people, and that's the thing about filmmaking as well. I feel like I like movies so much that just sitting down, like, if I ran into, someone I admired, if I happened to be on set one day with, any of those people that we mentioned, sure, there might be like a little sense of starstruck within, thinking about, again, back to Danielle Harris, her in Halloween, just thinking about that stuff, be like, oh shit, like I'm standing in front of, the girl who played Jamie in these Halloween movies. But at the end of the day, I would love to just sit down and have conversations with these people, like how you said you've worked on a couple projects with Tony Todd, and driving people around, things like that. And just having those conversations, getting to know someone. I heard a story about people who have in the past like ran into Jack Nicholson, and they were just, they were starstruck, but he just kind of talked about life, and it didn't 100% focus on his career, because at the end of the day, we are more than just our career. And I think just getting to know that person. So I think working on a set, what I'm getting at is working on a set with people and getting to know them and see who they are, and knowing them from their passions, but then learning who they are and how they got to where they are. To me, that's some pretty incredible stuff. So just to be on set with those people who have such iconic roles, and just to kind of hear their daily in and out life and being a part of this new project they're on, I think that would be pretty awesome. So.
Yeah, and I also feel like with these actors, I mean, they probably get bombarded with people asking them about questions. I'm sure Danielle gets bombarded about like, oh, like Halloween, what was your favorite this, or how did, just so many questions. And she and I just talked about, I remember she was talking about like her family a little bit and like where she lived and just normal, casual things. Terrifier 3, I gave, I remember I gave Jason Patrick a ride a few times to set, because it was just easier to have him ride with me. And we talked about how he likes to like go running in the morning. Like we were talking about like working out, like just random, like going running in the morning. And I think we talked a little bit about like politics, just like nothing. I didn't want to bring up like the Lost Boys or other things, because I'm like, you probably talk about that all the time. And that's probably, maybe it's not annoying, but like, I don't know. I'm down to talk about going running.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's the thing too. I mean, I go to conventions every once in a while,
Sure.
just to meet some of these people, and in your mind, you like you said, you want to be like, oh, what was it like being in Lost Boys or Candyman or Halloween or Cujo or E.T. or any of these things, and where that something like that usually does come up. I'm not gonna lie, I do try to get like normal conversation in, because at the end of the day, I do know that they're human, and what I love about it is not just that they're on a celebrity side, is that they are living and breathing and working something that I'm passionate about, and I'm not doing the same thing that they are. So if anything, I like to hear about, just like the conversation that we're having, just getting to know that person, their passion, and what they love about it, and what they love to do outside of it. Like that's what it's all about. So.
Yeah, I also feel like there's like a time and place, because I remember like on stream after we would wrap, sometimes we would just, because we all stayed in that hotel for those like 6 weeks or whatever, and I like sometimes after we would wrap, we would talk with some of the actors. I remember Mark Holton, we were just kind of all together talking, and that's when Michael asked like, oh, what was it like working on like Gacy and other projects, but that was after a bit of camaraderie and a little bit of like loosening up and already having established this sort of like trust, I guess. Maybe that's not even the right word, but like I can't think of a better word than like camaraderie, but a rapport, already establishing some sort of rapport, that it's not like, oh, nice to meet you, how was this, like how was it like working on this. It's like, we've already shot some scenes, that we did the small talk, we established a rapport, and then it's like, yeah, so how was it working on this? Oh, it was this and this and whatnot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. I totally get that. So what are some pearls of wisdom that you want to share with people, such as aspiring filmmakers that are kind of eager to follow in the same type of footsteps of you? Do you have any advice on that type of stuff?
Of course. Yeah, this is a great question. My first piece of advice would be to never stop creating. Don't give up. Never stop creating, because that's the key right there. Building genuine relationships and always staying humble are another thing. Never assume you're the smartest person in the room. I like to try to surround myself with people who are, so I'm like the least smartest person in the room. That way I can learn and grow, because how can you do that if you're with people that aren't helping you to learn and grow and reach for more? being a team player is huge. Nothing is beneath you. As a first AD, I have cleaned toilets. I have gone on coffee runs, or brought coffee with me for my team. There's no such thing as oh, well, that's not my job. And I learned that lesson very, very early on. Yeah, nothing is beneath you. The best filmmakers know how to collaborate and work as a team to problem solve, because there's always problems and they always need solutions. So instead of panicking, best thing to do is, all right, here, like very caveman brain, like problem, solution, let's figure it out, you know. Avoiding negativity and don't gossip and spread rumors. I think that's a big thing, because the way you talk about others is a reflection of you. And yeah, the industry's small, your reputation matters. So most importantly, I would say work hard, stay passionate, stay humble, and don't give up. The journey's not easy, but persistence pays off.
Fantastic. I love that. That was great. That's what a lot of people need to hear, and I think that all of that is great advice, and I think a lot of that can be applied to everyday life and whatever we're doing, and you know, when that passion is a part of your life, you know, incorporating all of what you just said into that is pretty incredible. So yeah, that was some good wisdom right there.
Yeah, and also, I mean, there's always going to be waves of doubt. I mean, to this day, I still sometimes I'm like, what the heck am I doing with my life? Like, what am I doing? Like, but that's so normal to doubt yourself or to be unsure. But you just have to work through it. You got to work through there's the industry ebbs and flows. I mean, there's times where everyone else is working except you, and you're like, well, what the heck? Like, maybe I'm not meant for this, you know? But you just hang in there. Don't give up. Keep going.
Hell yeah. That's incredible stuff right there. Thank you. Good answer. So can you share any upcoming projects that you might have, or anything that you're excited to possibly be working on?
Yeah, sure. So currently I'm working on a feature film of my own, and it's a psychological horror film with like a little bit of body horror in there, a little Cronenbergian action. Different from the slasher films that I'm mostly tied to. But I'm currently revisiting the script, just going through some revisions to make it as strong as possible before I start sending it to the team to see what they think, and then hopefully get into some sort of production, get it flowing there. And then on top of that, circling back to us talking about Densmore, I'm working on developing a mini-series, a pilot, based on the 2018 short film Densmore. And that's a mix. I mean, you saw the short, but it's a mix of X-Files, Black Mirror, and True Detective, I would say. And I think that could be a really compelling mystery, because I think that ties a lot of different intriguing aspects together. So yeah, I'm really excited to see what's to come of those. I haven't shot or I haven't written or directed my own feature film yet, so this would be a new endeavor for me, but I feel confident in taking that next step, especially because of my experience with Stream and Terrifier and like all the short films. And of course there have been other features that I've worked on, not necessarily with the Fuzz and the Terrifier team, but you know, other teams. So I think I have a decent understanding of what's involved, but I'm sure there's so much more that I have to learn, but I feel like I'm confident to take on those challenges. So I'm excited. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, be excited. Be very proud. I very much enjoyed listening to everything you've had to say, and I've mentioned a few times throughout this episode that your passion definitely shows. So to hear that you're working on your first feature film is great to hear, because I feel like, based on what I saw from your short films, based on this conversation, hearing your stories about what you do on set, kind of where you started on these sets, this is your time to shine. You got yourself here. You've learned along the way from some pretty greats, and you are ready to grab that baton and keep running. So really look forward to a feature film, and I really look forward to more of Densmore and the possibility of that being a miniseries, because storytelling in a miniseries form is pretty awesome too. I think I mentioned that your short seemed very cinematic, and I think nowadays miniseries feel very cinematic as well. I feel like maybe in the past, I have a TV movie or things like that might have had a bad rep per se, back in the day. But nowadays, I mean, you get 6, 8, 10 hours to really develop your story. So, man, I'm looking forward to both of these. I'll be keeping an eye on these projects for sure.
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, I really appreciate that.
Yeah. So I guess we made it to the end of this interview, but I do have one more question I want to ask you. You know what? Actually, two more. My first one's going to be, what is one of your all-time favorite horror movies?
Okay. Oh gosh. So, Jaws is up there.
Okay.
Jaws is definitely up there, but from a more contemporary style, I would say I really loved Insidious and the Conjuring movies, because I love how just like chilling and suspenseful they were. And Midsummer, I really loved Midsummer, which is so funny because it gets a lot. It's mixed. It's like you love it or you hate it, but the anxiety that I felt like permeating through the screen from the character, oh, so good. So well done.
So good.
So I really, Midsummer is up there. Jaws, they're up there, I'd say.
Those are two great movies. Again, Jaws is obviously iconic in its own right, and Midsummer is, that is quite a movie. Did you watch the director's cut, or did you watch the regular?
Both. I've seen both. Yeah. The director's cut, I felt like was long and not necessarily I don't know, I didn't think it was like needed, you know what I mean? I think the way they had it, like the whatever cut, the non-director's cut, was perfect, because I remember watching the director's cut and being like, I mean, this scene went on a bit long, or this didn't add much to the story, but overall I'm really impressed.
Oh yeah. Are you exclusively like a huge horror fan, or is there a different genre that you really pull yourself towards?
Man, that's tough. I do like other movies, but horror is just sort of what my like gut like goes towards. I don't know why. I've always loved horror movies. I've always loved, like, when I was little, I mean, my God, I'm like 4 years old watching like America's Most Wanted, and like like always very like hyper vigilant about like my surroundings and like scary stuff. And I remember being 7. This is so funny, actually. I remember being 7 years old, and I told a scary story to like my little cousins. And my one cousin, he was like 3 or 4. He had to go back to being potty trained because I told a story about a claw in the toilet, and he wouldn't use the toilet anymore. So my aunt was so upset with me. But that, like, 7 years old, being like, let's tell scary stories. Like, what's wrong with me? So naturally horror movies. I'm not surprised that that's what I navigate towards.
Yeah, I love that you. I love hearing your background. I was kind of the same way, and I would always try to scare people as much as possible. And so that's a great story. Poor kid. He's probably still traumatized.
He's fine now. Don't worry.
He's fine now.
He's fully potty trained. He's like 34 now, or 32 now.
Oh, good. All right, we love it. We love a 34-year-old potty trained person. 100%.
Oh man.
Yeah, no, I love hearing stories like that. I did the same thing when I was younger. I was always watching horror movies when I feel like I started like around 5 or 6. And I watched Halloween Most of my podcasts start off with kind of like, what's your history with this movie that we're talking about? The angle is that person has never seen the movie before until now. So I like to hear what their history is. Like, have you heard of this movie? Were you too scared to watch it? Whatever it might be. So a lot of mine started with, well, I was like 6 years old when I saw this. And people are like, what? But yeah, I was always the friend who was bringing scary movies over to sleepovers and stuff. And I remember...
Oh, your friends' parents probably hated you.
Oh, they really did. They really did.
Like, don't bring this kid here.
Yeah, I was sneaking in some. I remember sneaking in Carrie, the original Child's Play, and I remember my friend's one mom was so angry. She saw us watching Child's Play. We're like halfway through the movie, and my friend's traumatized. He's like scared of dolls already, and you're watching Chucky. So, poor kid. Yeah. I was traumatizing people too, so I'm glad we have that similar background there. So
yeah, traumatizing people together. A funny little anecdote here is that my older sister, when she was 8, she was at a sleepover, and they were watching Candyman, the original Candyman with Tony Todd. And then I ended up working with Tony Todd, and I sent a picture to her, and I'm like, Candyman. She's like, oh,
like,
my
no.
God. It's like full circle. Yeah, my parents were so upset because she was so afraid. She was so scared of that movie, and I'm pretty sure she slept with the light on for like years to come after that.
Oh, I'm sure.
And then here I am, like working with
yeah, it's
horror
awesome.
icons.
Yeah, horror icon indeed. I think Candyman holds up very well. I actually watched it again. Unfortunately, around the time of his passing, I was kind of, obviously I didn't know the man at all, but you see so many of his films, and they kind of become a part of your life. And Candyman's always been a favorite of mine. And rewatching it now, the story is still so relevant. Outside of the horror stuff, it's still so relevant. And his acting, I mean, he's scary. I mean, I'm not trying to sound some type of way, but I was never really scared of movies when I was a kid. Like, if anything, I loved watching movies with people to see their reaction because nothing really creeped me out. But his voice, I just remember when I was younger, I was kind of like, man, that's a scary ass voice.
Yeah, right. Wait, so were there any movies that did scare you? Was there like one movie that you were like, oh gosh, never again? Like growing up, or
the earliest movie that I can think of that I can say actually scared me to where I was lying in bed at night and I was like, oh shit, was The Exorcist. And
okay.
I want to say I was 8 years old. My parents were 90% lenient with what I watched. When it came to like scary stuff, they weren't really worried about it. It kind of got more into like the sex and the nudity stuff that they would, kind of stray away from, of course. But I feel like I was pretty mature for a young age, but I was not allowed to watch The Exorcist for whatever reason. And of course the curiosity came out, and I'm like, I'm going to watch this movie. So I remember my dad was outside cutting grass. My mom wasn't home. I vividly remember this. This is how it affected me. It was the middle of the day. It was on television, like TBS or something. So of course it's edited too. It's not even like it's, the actual film itself.
Right.
So I turned it on right as she starts transitioning, into the devil. And when her voice really changes and things like that. And I just remember being scared. And my dad was downstairs. He came inside from cutting the grass. So I heard the lawnmower stop, and I was kind of like, oh no, my dad's going to see me watching The Exorcist. I'm going to get in trouble. And I don't know what he did, but he like hit the door by accident and made a really loud sound. And I swear I jumped like 10 feet in the air. And yeah, I thought the devil was there for me too. So that night, I just remember lying in bed, and I had an old school wall clock that you could hear like the ticking every second. And I don't know why I was listening to the ticking, and I was waiting for it to stop because that's a scene in the movie when the clock stops and whatever. But needless to say, I've watched Exorcist a million times since then, but I never had a movie at that age affect me the way that movie did. So
yeah, that's fair. Demonic stuff always kind of freaked me out when I was younger. I don't know why, but that was like one thing. Like I could do like ghosts and murderers and whatever, but the demons always got to me, and then aliens. When I watched, which is random, but I had a horror. I'm not so much afraid of them now, but when I was a kid, now I'm like, please take me away from here. But please, do you see the state of this earth? No,
for real.
But I remember watching The Fourth Kind, and that traumatized me. I didn't sleep. Like I just stayed up all night, and I could not sleep. I don't know why, like what it was, but it just, yeah, The Fourth Kind. Of all the movies, that really did it for me. I was horrified.
No, I love that. The Fourth Kind is fantastic for when that movie came out. It definitely like pushed the boundaries, kind of like the Blair Witch Project did, and it made it feel so real, and like I understand being scared of that.
So real,
because,
yeah.
You were like
based on a true story, and they would show like the real footage side by side. I still don't want to think about it. I get so uncomfortable.
Oh, that's great. And you know what? At the end of the day, that is effective filmmaking. And I know that you said there's, people are very divided on Midsommar. My last episode I did, it's not a horror film, but the last episode I did for my podcast was Saltburn. And people absolutely love it, or they absolutely loathe it. And
I've heard that too.
Yeah, and it's, talking about Saltburn and Midsommar, like, to me, though, that is effective filmmaking. Like, you are reaching both ends of the spectrum of people really loving it, really hating it, because you have something to say. And not everyone loves what is being said, but it's relevant. That's
the worst review you could get is it was boring. I mean,
yes.
If you hate it or you love it, you feel a type of way. It made you feel something, and that's
exactly
effective filmmaking, is making you feel something. So
absolutely,
yeah,
absolutely. Well, this kind of leads me into my very last question for you. Again, my podcast, the Reaction Shot Podcast, is introducing people to movies that have never seen them before, until right before we do the episode. So my question for you: what was your reaction shot to seeing the very first Terrifier, and now that you're part of its legacy, how do you feel about it?
My first reaction to the first Terrifier wasn't like a great one. It was just sort of like, what the fuck? And then my second reaction was, he would need a bone saw, not a hacksaw, to get through her pelvic bone. This makes no sense. Like, so snotty. Like, this makes no sense.
Fact checking.
Right. Of course, now that I know all the lore of Art the Clown and everything, it's it's all relative. But honestly, I'm so grateful to be a part of the Terrifier legacy, and the best part isn't the movies themselves, but the people that I've gotten to work with and have come to know over the years. They're like family, and I'm just incredibly lucky to be a part of this journey with them.
Absolutely, yeah. You are very much a part of that legacy, and I've said time and time again on this episode, the passion really shows with those films, and you are a part of that. So your passion shows, and I really appreciate you taking the time to have this conversation with me and kind of get to know you a little bit, letting people get to know you a little bit, because at the end of the day, we are all creators. We all are artists, and we are, getting our work out there, and hearing your stories where, you're starting off with possibly cleaning toilets and doing coffee runs. Yeah. And here you are talking to me about how you're in the early stages of your first feature film. And that's what we love to see. That's the success that we love to see, that we love to hear. And it doesn't matter what age you are. It doesn't matter what you've done or how many times you've fallen. You can do it, and you can get there. And I think you are, someone that someone can look up to and be like, well, Jamie did that, so why the hell can't I? And
that's how you do it. I mean, that's what I did. I was like, why not me? Like, why can't I do this? So yeah, you just gotta believe in yourself and work hard, for sure.
Yeah. Well, Jamie, is there anything else you want to say, talk about, or anything? I asked you a lot of questions. I think when I first sent you the original email about some of the things I wanted to talk to you about, I was like, is this is this too many questions? Is she gonna be like,
Oh,
what is
no,
this guy doing?
no, not at all. I actually appreciate you sending me the questions because I'm a
Yeah.
horrible interviewer or interviewee. Interviewee, I guess.
Hey, interview. Yeah.
I yeah, so I appreciate seeing them just so I could get an idea of to formulate my thoughts. You know what I mean? It's not like my answers would have changed, but at least I
Sure.
can articulate them in a a streamlined thought there.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think it's good. I think it's kind of good to know what someone's going to ask you. I think I asked you a couple random questions, but I think they weren't
Totally
anything too
fine.
intense. So,
No,
um,
yeah.
um, well, again, Jamie, thank you so much for joining me today on my very first sub episode. I'm calling Creator Spotlight. Uh, that's I'm so grateful you did this. I know I said
Oh,
that
thank you
multiple times too.
thank you so much for having me. I'm so grateful to be a part of this, and I'm excited for the episode to come out.
Yeah, I can't wait to get it out there. I was talking to a couple of people about getting excited to do this. So again, I appreciate it. I know you're very busy. It sounds like you're working hard on some future stuff, and you guys are. I do want to call out the incredible team behind Stream constantly, and I say constantly in a very positive way. Constantly, making posts and pushing for people to watch this film because indie filmmaking is very important, and Stream is incredible, and Terrifier is the same exact thing, and we see how that exploded, and I think Stream is super worthy of having the same type of franchise and the same type of success, and I feel like you guys are doing great things out there promoting it and having a good presence online and interacting with people, so can't wait to see where that goes to.
Thank you so much. I do appreciate that.
Thank you so much again for coming on today, taking time out of your day to chat all things you, because hearing you speak as a creator about your passions is what this is all about, and I loved every second of what you had to say. So thanks again, Jamie.
Thank you so much for having me, Dave.
All right, Jamie, have a great day. Everyone listening, have a great day. Thanks for checking out the Reaction Shot podcast. We'll see you next time.